This is our second lesson from Chapter 5, and we're going to look at identities today. But first of all, we did the warm-up. You should go ahead and try solve these questions, and then we'll talk about the answers in a second. Now, I deliberately for this question, and I'm not sure I did so with my answers, made one of these less than or equal to, and this one not equal to. So certainly I should be able to have 0 as a solution, but 360 should not be a valid solution. And so make sure you're doing these questions, you look very carefully to make sure you know exactly what the inequalities are. Now, although we talked about solving equations like this last lesson, there's most of these questions we should actually be able to do without even a calculator. And the reason is, a lot of these are your special values. So 1/2, you should know for sine it's going to be 30 degrees. If not, do inverse sine of 1/2, find that principal value. Once you've found that it's 30 degrees, you have to use the symmetry of the graph to also find 150 as a valid solution. Now, cosine x equals -1, you should be able to visualise the graph for this one, and it should be 180. If not, inverse cosine again. Tan x equals what is another special value? It's 45 degrees. And to find other solutions, we just add on 180 degrees. Now, I perhaps skipped over this question. If you did do this by inverse cosine, to find the other solution for cosine, you do 360 minus the answer. And as it happens for this one, 360 minus 180 is 180, so that's why we only had one solution for that question. Now, sine x equals 0 from the graph. You should be able to have 0, 180. And the reason it's not 360 again is because we're not allowed it to equal 360. Cosine x equals 3. If you try that on a calculator, it should say error. And the reason is the range for cosine is -1 to 1, so no solution to that question. Now, the last question, there is no inverse secant button, but we do know secant is the reciprocal of cosine. So this question is actually the same as, if you do the reciprocal of both sides, cosine x equals 1/2. First value for cosine would be 60, and then 360 take away 60 would give us 300, which would give us our first solution. So, that was the warm-up we did today. In the next video we'll talk about the lesson itself.